Hi, this is Miss Cairo. This is lesson 4-1, part 1. This is our first lesson in unit 4, which is all about multiplication. So for this lesson, what you are going to need is your activity book, your place value chart, an expo marker, and a pencil. So go ahead and gather those materials and please open up your book to page 113. Okay, and page 113, we're taking a look at the heading now, which is shifts with whole numbers. What we're going to be studying in this first lesson is how to solve problems when we're multiplying by factors of 10, 100, and 1000. And it's all can be done, all these problems that involve multiplying by 10, 100, 1000 can be done just using your place value chart and your knowledge of the place value system. Okay, so we're going to be following along with the situation, going along with someone named Jordan and earning money. So go ahead and read along with me. I already read the heading out loud, which is shifts with whole numbers. What I'd like you to do above the word shift means move. So above the word shift, please write in the word move. Again, this is page 113. All right, and we're going to be basically moving digits within our place value chart in order to solve these multiplication problems. So go ahead and read along with me. It says Jordan earns $243 a week. The money is shown on the right. Answer the questions about how much he will earn over time. So in 1 week, we have Jordan. Notice that they put each of the digits in the correct place values. The 2 is in the hundreds, the 4 is in the tens, and the 3 is in the ones place value. And there's also currency pictures that go along with each of these place values and each of the digits underneath. So underneath the ones place value, we have the number 3, and to go along with 3 in currency, we have 3 $1 bills. Underneath the 4 in the tens place, we have 4 $10 bills. And 2 is in the hundreds place, we have 2 $100 bills. So take a look at those pictures and then take a look at the multiplication sentence. 1 week times $243 is equal to $243. The answer is the same as this factor. Anytime we multiply something by 1, we get the same number as the other factor. So 243 times 1 is equal to 243. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to get your place value chart out. In the first row, I would like you to place this number 243 into the correct place value. So please in the chart put the 2 in the hundreds place, 4 in the tens, and 3 in the ones. Does your place value chart look like mine? Don't erase that. Keep that handy. This is after 1 week. For 1 week of work, Jordan earns this amount. Let's see what happens over time. So the next situation then, it says, when you multiply by 10, the digits shift by 1 place to the left. All right, so now we're working with multiplying by 10. And why we're multiplying by 10 is now we're dealing with, after 10 weeks, how much will Jordan have earned, okay? So here's a visual of what he earned after 1 week. That's from the previous slide. And now take a look at the visual where it's labeled after 10 weeks. After 10 weeks, the book is saying that he's going to now earn $2,430. And you might notice something about the digits that go along with week 1. Take a look at a pattern maybe that you see. Let's take a look at the multiplication sentence. 10 times 430, 10 times 243 equals $2,430. All right, so let's take the book's word for it, and we will figure out how they came up with this in just a moment. So for number 1, after 10 weeks, how much will Jordan have earned? Let's put in that book amount that the book came up with $, $2,430. Don't forget your $, don't forget your comma. Number 2 asks, What happens to each $1 bill when it is multiplied by 10? Okay, I'm going to have you circle $1 bill from Jordan's weekly earnings up at the top of the page. Just circle $1 bill. When we multiply just this $1 bill by 10, okay, $1 bill times 10, if I were to draw out 10 $1 bills, and I'll do it really quick without even labeling, times 10 meaning I'm going to have 10 more $1 bills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 times 10 equals 10. So if I take $1 bill and I'm multiplying it by 10, I'm going to have now $10. Okay, what happens to each $1 bill when it is multiplied by 10? How many times as great is that then? So I could even show this in the within the book. This $1 bill became now a $10 bill. Basically, we exchanged it. We took these 10 $1 bills and exchanged it for one $10 bill. And then how many times as great is $1 bill compared to a $10 bill? $1 bill times 10, so now it's going to become 10 times as great and again be exchanged. So that will be the answer for number 2. What happens to each $1 bill when it is multiplied by 10? It becomes 10 times as great. Go ahead and write that into the book with me. It becomes 10 times as great. A $10 bill is 10 times as much as a $1 bill. Okay, and the same goes for all the other currency and the other place values. Number 3 asks, what happens to each other bill when it is multiplied by 10? Well, let's take one $10 bill. So there's 4 $10 bills. Let's just circle one of them. 10 times as much as one $10 bill. A $10 bill, and I'm going to create 10 times it by 10 gives me 10 $10 bills. So 10 times 10 gives us, let me draw an arrow over to it, a $100 bill. 10 times 10 is 100. So all of these, each of the currencies, I could be circling each of these and then drawing an arrow over. These 3 $1 bills became 3 $10 bills. These 4 $10 bills became 4 $100 bills. These 2 $100 bills becomes 2 $1,000 bills. And this is all after we're saying multiplying by that magical number 10. Okay. So what happens to each other bill when it is multiplied by 10? It's the same as what happens to the $1 bill. It becomes 10 times as great. So go ahead and write that in for number 3. It becomes 10 times as great. Sorry, mine's really sloppy. Hopefully yours is much neater. It becomes 10 times as great. And before we answer numbers 4 and 5, let's take a look at your place value chart. You already entered 243 on the first row. That was after 1 week. On the next row, let's show the new amount that Jordan has earned after 10 weeks. So 2 is going to be now in the thousands place. 4 is going to be in the hundreds. 3 is going to be in the tens. And there's a 0 in the ones place. And that was according to the book as well. I'm going to put my comma between the 2 and the 4. Take a look at those digits. What happened to each digit after we multiplied by 10? Number 4 asks, when you multiply by 10, does each digit shift to the right or to the left? Well, my 2 went from the hundreds to the thousands. My 4 went from the tens to the hundreds. And my 3 went from the ones to the tens. It's moving this direction. Is this right or left? It is left. Okay, they're moving in the left way. This would be right. Nope, they're not going that direction. They are in fact going left. So for number 4, we're going to write they're shifting to the left. And number 5, how many places did each digit shift? Well, let's count. The 3 went from the ones to the tens. The 4 went from the tens to the hundreds, and the hundreds went to the thousands place value. Do you see how I did those like little hops? From the 3 that's in the ones to go from the ones to the tens, how many place values is that? Just one. It hopped over just one. 3 went to ones to tens, and then so on. Just one place value. Go ahead and write that in for number 5 with me. One place value. Does your book look like mine? And again, this is all going along with multiplying by 5. I circled multiply by 10. Sorry, multiply by 10. I circled that. Go ahead and circle that too when it's at the top where it says when you multiply by 10. Circle that. This was all about multiplying by 10. And I want you to, again, look at those patterns that you saw. And let's apply this now to another situation. More time is going to pass for this next one. Okay, now we're dealing with shifting again, and now we're working with after 100 weeks. Wow, that's a long time. Circle after 100 weeks, circle that 100 weeks. How much will Jordan have earned? Well, the book kindly already laid it out for us. This is what he earned after 1 week, and now in the book we have a new visual. We have this number, $24,300. Wow. Okay, and then I see that we're multiplying by 10. Sorry, not by 10, 100. Multiplying by 100. 10 times 10 is the same as 100 times 243, and that's equal to $24,300. And we'll talk about, again, how the book came up with this in just a moment. So for number 6, let's use the book's visual. $24,300. Don't forget your dollar sign and your comma. Number 7 asks, what happens to each $1 bill when it is multiplied by 100? Again, let's just take a look at this $1 bill here. If I'm saying I want 100 times as much as this $1 bill, I would multiply my $1 bill by 100, or I would create 100 $1 bills. And again, I would be able to exchange it. That would mean I would have $100. And instead of having 100 $1 bills, I can exchange it for one $100 bill. So we will see here, this is going back from the previous page, 3 $1 bills turns into, if we multiply it by 100, turns into 3 $100 bills. And it becomes how many times as great then? 100 times as many, 100 times as much great. A $100 bill is 100 times as much as a $1 bill. So that's our answer for number 7. It becomes 100 times as great. It becomes 100 times as great. Go ahead and write that in. Does yours look like mine? What happens to each digit when it is multiplied by 100? Well, if we hop on over, if we were working with 4 $10 bills, my 4 $10 bills, or Jordan's 4 $10 bills after 100 weeks of working, turned into 4 $1,000 bills. They got 1,000, sorry, they got 100 times as great. We started off with 4 $10 bills. So if I'm just looking at one $10 bill times 100 is equal to 1,000. Okay, so all our currency here is going to move over 2 place values, and it becomes every piece of currency here becomes 100 times as great as what he started with that first week. So number 8 is the same answer for number 7. It becomes 100 times as great. I didn't remind you, but I wanted you to keep your place value chart intact. So you should have 400, 243 on the first line. Go ahead and erase the second line that was working with after 10 weeks. Let's talk about what happened after 100 weeks. And they already laid it out for us. The 2 is in the 10,000s place value, the 4 is in the thousands, the 3 is in the hundreds, and then there's 2 zeros that go in the tens and the ones. And that's what the book laid out for us. But let's talk about how they came up with that. Well, again, we're multiplying by 100 now. What do you notice about the digits? Well, let's just take a look at the 2. The 2 went from the hundreds place value to the 10,000s place value. Did it go left or right? Did the 2 move this direction or this direction? Yeah, it moved to the left. All right. So, and I noticed that all of them moved to the left. The 4 moved from the tens over to the thousands. The 3 moved over from the ones to the hundreds. They're moving to the left. So that's our answer for number 9. Go ahead and write that in. And then lastly, how many places did each digit shift? And some of you, actually all of you probably should do this with me. Let's just look at one digit at a time and let's hop on over and count how many place values for each one. Let's look at the 2 in the hundreds place value. Let's count how many places it took for us to get from the hundreds to now the 10,000s. So let's do one little hill for 1. That's 1 place value. One little hill for 2, and now I've landed in the 10,000s place value, which is what the book said. 2 would be in the 10,000s. How many place values was that? 1, 2. Good. That's for the 2. What about the 4? 1, 2. What about the 3? 1, 2. Each of the digits moved 2 place values to the left. 2 place values to the left, and this is all again when we're working with multiplying Jordan's earnings by 100. All right, thanks for following along. Let's continue on working what happens after 1,000 weeks of working.